They say that you can't be all things to all men, but apparently nobody's mentioned that to the Audi RS4. It's practical, it looks fantastic, and of course, it's fast. Oh yes. Now I'm going to kick off this review by addressing the elephant in the room, and if you're a die-hard RS4 fan, you might want to cover your ears at this point because what I'm about to tell you may be upsetting. You will no longer find under the bonnet a naturally aspirated V8 engine. Instead, there is a V6 with a couple of turbochargers, but don't panic too much because it still produces 450 horsepower. And the good thing is it comes with an extra dose of pulling power in the form of 50% more torque. What this means on paper is a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds and the ability to effortlessly punch on to a top speed limited to 155 miles per hour. But if you really want to feel the full force of that extra power, then you can get Audi to up the limiter to 174 miles an hour, which equates to around 280 kilometres an hour on its native German roads. And the thing I really love about the RS4 is that unless you are in the know, you just wouldn't know that it's capable of going that fast. That's because the RS4 is a master of understatement, with simply a more subtle muscular look. Although this range-topping carbon edition does give you more clues, with its carbon detailing, a matte grille, matrix LED headlights and an RS sports exhaust, along with special weight-saving 20-inch alloy wheels and a lighter carbon roof. And what about this colour, Sonoma Green, which I think is beautifully set off by the mirrors. As you'll know if you watch my Instagram stories, I think this is my favourite colour of car right now. The only problem is you do have to pay extra for it. In fact, you have to pay extra for every colour apart from Nardo Grey, which I do think is a bit mean. Inside, it's not that different to the standard car, although all models get sportier seats. And the carbon edition adds these beautiful Napa leather honeycomb seats. They're just so comfortable and they hug you in as you throw the RS4 around a bend. And they're not the only thing I like in here. I love the feel of this perforated leather steering wheel with its flat bottom and its subtle RS badging. It's just a joy to get your hands on and feels nice and substantial. Now, all RS4s come with Audi's virtual cockpit, which is this digital display here. It has a few bespoke RS features that you can play around with from the controls here on the lovely steering wheel. There's also some subtle RS badging dotted around the place, along with very nice aluminium pedals. But it's not all good in here. Take the paddles here on the steering wheel, which control manual mode for the gearbox. They're just disappointingly plastic and flimsy. And then there's this tablet style screen, which is just stuck there. You know, if it's not going to fold elegantly out of the way, at least make it like a proper tablet and make it into a touch screen. There's also plenty of plastic in here masquerading as stainless steel. And that's not the only masquerading that's going on, because some of the air vents also follow that disappointing trend of being fake. And back inside, there is this massive air vent that just seems to go on and on and on. It dominates the whole cabin. Look, I know it's an Audi thing. I'm just not a big fan of it. Why not let us know what you think in the comments below, and also tell us whether those fake air vents annoy you as much as they do Batch and I. But when it comes to practicality, it's all good, just as you'd expect from an Audi estate. Plenty of room for the dog in the back, and for the Carbuyer suitcases, of course. In fact, the boot is one of the biggest in its class, beating cars like the Mercedes-AMG C63 with plenty of space. But as great as it is to be able to load all the family and the dog and all your bags into a practical estate car, that's not why you're interested in the RS4. This is why you're interested in the RS4. Oh, yes. Oh, it is so quick off the mark. That is lovely. But the beauty of this car is not how quick it is 0 to 60, which it undeniably is. It's the fact that because of that extra torque that I've mentioned, power just keeps on going, and that is what really impresses me. But the RS4 doesn't just offer amazing straight line performance. tempo, no. The handling and the ride are just fantastic with this 8-speed automatic gearbox making light work of shifting through all the gears. You know, I'm not entirely sure you'd want to try and do it any better yourself with the paddle shifts. Okay, there is a hint of hesitation as those two turbos do their thing. But overall, this car is an absolute joy to drive. Stick it into dynamic mode, which is what I've got now, and it really comes into its own. You get just a general sharper response while it really holds onto the gears just long enough to give you the optimal acceleration. But what I love about it most of all is the steering. It's razor sharp. And also that power distribution, like I've mentioned, that really impresses me. The whole thing feels incredibly planted, you know, no matter what road you're on or what speed you're going. Okay, it's going to lack the drifty feel that I know a lot of you will love, but personally, I just really like this feeling of being balanced, solid, really connected with the road. And it does sound good. I like it so much. I don't want to give this one back. And you'll also be amazed at how comfortable the RS4 is. So let's just take it out of dynamic mode for a second. Stick it into comfort mode. There, straight away, things quieten down a bit. You get a very different feel. That exhaust has quietened down. The steering just feels a bit more relaxed, as does the response of the accelerator. And what you can do now when it's in this mode is just, you know, really relax. It's such a comfortable ride. It's a comfortable car to be in. You know, you would happily use this every day, use it for long journeys. And of course, all those worries about making the kids in the back sick disappear as well. Although, to be honest, the ride, even with those low-profile 20-inch alloys that are on this car, is so impressive. There's not much chance of anyone being sick, whatever mode you're in. Now, before I sign off, there's still one point I need to address. How does it sound? Now, it doesn't have that V8 engine, so let's give it a go. Let's switch from comfort into dynamic mode, and it still sounds pretty good. In fact, a friend of mine who's been lucky enough to own a couple of RS4s thought he would miss what he described as the roll of thunder from that naturally aspirated V8. But even he conceded that for a V6, this sounds pretty good. But do let us know what you think in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching, then click on the logo to subscribe so you know when the latest video has landed from Batch and I. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter.